What's up guys, Woody here, back with a new type of video that I'm bringing to Mythgard, but a video I've done before, especially in Gwent. This was one of my most popular videos I've done in Gwent, and it's very much aimed at new players, hence the title, New to Mythgard. So this video series we're looking at anything from very basic mechanics to very advanced mechanics to deck building stuff to gameplay elements to almost anything, okay? And I'll be trying to break it down in the most simplest layman terms for beginner players, like new players. We're talking about players that are maybe under 10 hours in the game. Maybe you loaded the game and you're like, wow, this game's bonkers, it's so overwhelming. I need to go to YouTube and find something to learn with the game. This is what these videos are for you guys. In the Gwent series I ran, I even had people who'd put in hundreds of hours into the game, and I'd put a video up and I'm like, oh, I didn't realise that this card done this or something like that. So if I can just get one little bit of helpful information across to you guys in these videos, then that's it. I'm sort of super happy with that. So today what we are doing is we are looking at gems. Sorry, not gems. The colours of Mythgard. Now every card game has factions, colours, pantheons, whatever you want to call it. They have identities, okay? Card sets that you put together to make decks. And in Mythgard, they're done through colours. You have, you can see at the bottom of the screen now, blue, yellow, red, green, orange, purple. Now, they are pantheons in Mythgard, and I won't sit here and go into the lore of it all. The lore in the game is amazing, and there's lots of websites out there that are doing the lore if you're interested in that. Just playing through the story, you'll kind of get an idea about the lore. It will kind of tease it enough to you. The artwork as well really much plays into the lore as well. But anyway, enough of the whole tangent. What you guys are here for. This video is going to look at what is each colour trying to do. What is its set aim as a mono colour? And that's important. No, that is important. I'll also give some tips for what colours work well with each other to play into a set archetype. And then we're going to finish up with... or we'll not finish up at the end, but we're gonna then add in as well what cards I recommend you craft that are rare and mythic, because you'll get a lot of uncommons and commons just playing the game. You'll get lots for doing story if you end up playing some Gauntlet, if you end up opening packs. You're going to get quite a few commons, uncommons, and I could do a whole video on must craft cards, but I made that in the future. I'm going to talk about when you have that wild card rare to spend on a blue card, what do I recommend you spend it on? Now, quick important thing, guys, for those cards I'm recommending, they are not, the cards I'm recommending today aren't the strongest cards in the game. They're not going to win you the game. They're the most versatile, and by that I mean for someone who has a minimal collection, these are cards that whether you're playing an aggro blue deck or a mid-range blue deck or a control blue deck, they're probably going to go in each of those decks. Maybe not all of them, but you know what I mean. There's potential to have them in all decks. That's the approach you've gone with the rares and the mythics, not this card will win in this deck hands down, okay? But anyway, enough of me blabbering on. Let's jump into it. So blue, we're going to kick off with blue. We're going to scroll down in order. Blue has a really cool kind of tribal element to it with a biker gang and a Norse element. Norse element is clearly visible for something like Honed Edge. I mean, the artwork there is cool. And biker gangs are the Valkyries, okay? You also have some canines here. So in terms of tribal decks, if you want to just type in a keyword or a tribal word like canine or Valkyrie, that's what you type in. Valkyries will bring up a whole list of Valkyrie decks you can make. You can make a mono blue Valkyrie, but it actually sprinkles in nicely with some other colours. Or you can make a mono canine and a mono blue canine deck, but then there are also some green cards that work very well in a canine deck. Now, that's the idea there. Blue can offer aggro, but not on its own. Blue on its own is a kind of mid-rangey deck. It can offer some big ramping plays. If we scroll down to like the bottom of the blues, okay, you have cards like Volcanic Rissi, okay. It costs 7 mana to get out, but then it comes out an 8/8 and it does 4 damage to the face. You have this huge card here that comes out 5/5, Alpha Strike, meaning it deals damage first, doesn't take damage, and then you return all Valkyrie, so it's much a card that plays into a Valkyrie playlist. Okay, even like stuff like Magnus comes out and damages all enemy minions by 2. This is a very good control card. Potential board wipe on the enemy side. This is a massive monster. Fragile 1 overrun. It comes out with only 3 damage on him, but gets 2 extra damage every time it takes damage. This can get way out of control, especially if you've got ways of keep healing it as well. Blue also have quite a few enchantments. Enchantments are stuff you put on the board and they do things to minions, okay? So, for example, Giant's Gateway is occupy minion, he gets free. meaning you used to put something like a Blackened Jotun on there. It's going to be a 9/9 on Giant Stairway. Like crazy big bonkers, okay? More Valkyrie cards. We have stuff like Maelstrom. Again, this is another enchantment, okay? The end of turn deals 1 damage to all minions in the 3 opposing lanes and to adjacent friendly lanes. Again, crazy strong. Like, very, very strong card if it's played in the right deck. So, blue is... the way I best saw blue when I started playing the game is it's a bit of everything. It can be aggro. If you mix it in with some red... maybe even purple, it has some aggro elements. It's not super aggro, it's not hyper aggressive, but it can be sprinkled in nicely with some aggro. It works very well in mid-range. Blue-red is a very good mid-range deck at the moment in the current meta, and I'm seeing it a lot everywhere. But also then sprinkling it in with some yellow and it gets very nice and controlly. Sprinkle it in with some green and it starts getting really big. Blue is the kind of versatile colour that goes with everything. Not all colours... I can't say not all colours go with anything, because Mythgard has a really nice synergy where you can literally go, I want to make a blue, green and purple deck. Does it work? I don't know. Let's play around with it. And there will be cards that will work with each other. And that's one of the best things about the game. But as beginner synergy, the best way to see it is blue, red is a good mid-range deck that offers can offer more aggression. Blue, purple... again, can be mid-range aggression. Blue-green can be kind of mana curve, ramping, really throw down some big units. Blue-yellow is kind of the go-to for control. Now, must-craft cards, in my opinion, in blue, we're going to kick off first with Thunderclap. Now, this card will be played in almost any blue deck you play. Aggro, mid-range, like ramp. Yeah, it will probably be played in ramp as well. Deal 2 damage to your opponent and all enemy minions. So it does what Magnus does, but it does 2 damage to their face as well. And it can potentially board wipe. You can set it up so it just board wipes. It's crazy. It's super strong. People play this card against me. They're normally removing 2 or 3 minions. At minimum 2 minions normally, okay? It's a very good card. And you get 2 damage to the face. You're going to play this in almost any blue deck you play. If you've got a blue rare card, like wild card to spend it on Thunderclap. In my opinion, it's very versatile. The next one we're going to look at isn't actually that versatile, but the only reason I'm going to recommend it is, in terms of what rares are available in blue, this is quite a good card, and it's Road Queen. The reason it's not versatile is because it buffs all your Valkyrie minions by 1/1. Now, this is great in a Valkyrie deck, and only really a Valkyrie deck. The reason I'm recommending this is, you can make a pretty cheap Valkyrie deck with mono blue, and it's not super powerful. But for playing on bronze ladder, creeping into silver ladder, it works. And if you want to go down the Valkyrie route, and you're thinking, do you know, I like the idea of these biker girls or this biker gang, I want to build something out, then Road Queen is a must craft rare. It's not as versatile across all decks, but if you're sprinkling Valkyries into your deck, Road Queen isn't a bad card to have in there. It's not, like I said, it's not the most versatile, but in what is available, and the fact that you can get good Valkyrie decks for pretty cheap, I would say Road Queen would be my pick, okay? And the last one I'm going to go with, there was several I could have gone with here. I'm actually going to go with Magnus, because this card is played in every blue deck. It's almost an auto include in a blue deck. Comes out for 4/4 and deals 2 damage to all enemy minions. It basically does what Thunderclap does, but it puts a unit on the board of 4/4. It's powerful, it's strong, it's big. It is mythic. That's why it's so expensive. Okay, moving on to yellow. Now, yellow is, again, best seen, if we're being linear and looking at it as a monocolor, this is your control faction, your defensive faction. They have some big defender units in there. They have some alpha strike in there, meaning that you deal damage first, it can't be removed. They have lots of ways of getting some very good card draw constantly, so you're never really running out of cards. There's some enchantments to do some disgusting stuff like laser grid. Enemy minions attacking this lane and the adjacents, they first take 1 damage. So if you're playing against mono red where they have lots of just 1 cost units, they can't attack your minions through laser grid. They die first, and it's just very control heavy. Mono yellow is pretty slow. I'm not going to lie. Mono yellow is a very slow. If you just look, all you've got to do is look at that 1 drops to see how slow it can be, okay? This here comes out at a 0/1. This is a spell card. This is a great 1 drop, okay? It's a 2/2, but again, it has summoning sickness. This is a card that slowly ticks up. But then if you start looking down the cards a little bit, if you start looking towards their 3s and their 4s, and you can start realizing that you can actually start adding mutations to cards. You can get the dogs out. You get the Kaijo's out. These guys here work as a pair. They deal damage and they give life depending on how you play stuff. You then get even further into it. All your minions now have 1/1 when you play someone like a Llama Ring. It starts getting very controlled. You're looking at playing this slow game normally with yellows, okay? The twins are disgusting, but I won't go into the detail on them. Now, as I said, yellow and blue, very much a deck. Very control heavy. And it can be a very strong control deck. Watch Flake, a fellow TRS member. If anyone knows Flake, loves blue-yellow. Likes putting some dirty enchantments down and getting it running. And it works very well. The yellow, mono-yellow can work. I don't play against it much. I find it very slow. But on that side of that, mono-yellow is a tricky one because I've not played mono-yellow. But when I've played against mono-yellow, if they haven't got the right draw, I've won by turn 5 because it's too slow. If they have got the right draw and the right cards in hand, and I don't win by turn 4, I don't win. They just shut me out. My hand just disappears. They always have minions in hand. They just grind me out and they win. You can sprinkle in some purple to add a kind of little bit of aggression with it. You can even do like yellow-red. So you have like the kind of controlled defensive side of yellow and some aggression from red. Now the cards I recommend we craft that are rare and mythic are slightly harder to choose here because they don't... Lots of the yellow cards set to do a set thing in a deck. They're not hugely versatile, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. So the cards we're looking at here, which is pretty versatile, and I would argue that I would run it in most yellow decks, is Misanthropia. Now Misanthropia gives all minions, yours and enemies, blight free. Now if you know what blight free does, is at the start of every turn, the minion that's got blight gets -3 attack, -3 life. So if you're really behind on yellow, you've maybe got 2 or 3 units out. They've got a whole board out. Popping this can literally wipe the whole board. You pop this, you then start playing some units. They're going to potentially lose their board next turn. It's a very control heavy card. It's a very good way to basically get a board wipe. It will board wipe, not maybe in turn 1, but definitely by turn 2. If not turn 3, every card is gone. Every card has just disappeared, okay? This card is very frustrating to play against. Very frustrating when they drop it and you spend 6-7 turns to set up a board, but it fits into the yellow control archetype. The other one people might look at and go, really? And that is Clay Effigy. Now Clay Effigy creates a 0/1 statue in any player's unoccupied lane and draw a card. Now there's 2 important things to remember there. Any player's unoccupied lane and draw a card. Meaning that if there's an enchantment, say, on the opponent's side of the board that you don't want them to play a big unit in, you can play this in there, okay? Yeah, they can move it if they want things of that. It can be played on the opponent's side. Drawing the card's more important because it gets your card back in hand. But if we play this stuff here, okay, now this is almost in every single yellow deck. Early doors, it can be a very good blocker. You can put it out there. Yes, they don't take damage, but it gives you one more turn of staying alive. And in yellow decks, that's very important. Staying alive, getting your gems out, getting your mana pool bigger is very important when you're playing yellow decks. So having this out to maybe just stop one turn of taking damage to the face is very important. But then when we link it with cards like Alma's Ring, okay, you get an Alma's Ring, all of a sudden now it's a 1/2. Alright, you might argue a 1/2 is not amazing, but you get to draw a card off playing a 1/2. You have 2 of these out, which is not easy, but it's definitely happened against me. It's now a 2/3, and you're drawing a card off playing a 2/3. It is, in my opinion, one of the most versatile rares in yellow, and definitely when you're starting the game, it's something I play it in yellow decks normally, partly to act as a cheeky defender, and I get to draw a card, so it's great. Then the mythic we are recommending, I had an issue with this one. Now the one I'm going with maybe isn't the best. Maybe it isn't the best mythic yellow offers. It's pretty tough to get out, but when you get it out, it's your win con. Okay, this is a win con mythic. This can be played in any yellow deck, any yellow red deck, yellow purple deck, yellow, any deck that has yellow in it. This can be played in it, and you get it out, you can win, and that is Sapo. Sapo the Devourer. It's warded, hex proof. If anyone plays Magic the Gathering, meaning it can't be damaged outside of combat, and destroy an enemy minion in the opposite lane and friendly minions in the adjacent lane, so lanes next to you. Get +2/+2 for each minion destroyed. So it's basically auto removal on a big unit they've got, and makes it an 8/8. If you destroy your cards next to it, it can go to a 12/12 if you get the stuff out there. 12/12 is insane. It can't be removed with damage from a card, so they can't play like exact life on it and do that damage to it. They're stuck. Okay, they have to remove it with damage. It's insane. Blight works very well against it, but this is a finisher. This comes on the board normally against yellow. I've lost. I've lost. I'm done. I can't win this game. It's a crazy strong card. Okay. And if you're looking at playing yellow, the twins are incredibly powerful, but the reason I haven't recommended twins is because there's 2 of them. You kind of need to craft both, really. This, you just need the one. It's crazy big, super strong, and I love dropping it. I love throwing out Sapo and being like, granted, I haven't played tons of yellow. Moving on to red. I don't need to spend ages here to tell you what the archetype of red is. Mono red is aggro. It's simple as that. Same as Magic, same as probably many card games you played. Mono red is very much a thing here. Mono red can get hyper aggressive when you play cards with Rush. Rush being no summoning sickness. You drop down Trapezists, so fly out nice and quickly straight away. You've got cards with Agile, meaning that they can dodge units and attack past them. Okay, you can play stuff like Dash and Ringmaster. Other friendly minions that are created with 4 or less strength have Rush. All of a sudden now you can get your whole board getting a Rush. Wyvern has Rush. You have a real nice cool Vampire synergy that can really get ticking up. And as a tribal deck, mono vampires are very much a thing and have some good finishes. I like red. I do like red. As I said, I've just gone all the way to the top. Red-blue is very much a thing at the moment. And that's because you get a nice balance of blue mid-range and red aggro. And it works very well. You can put, like I said, there isn't a combination you can't do in this game. I'm just going through the basic ones that for new players I'd recommend checking out. Red blue is definitely one I'd recommend checking out. And mono red, play around with mono red. People don't like playing mono red because you can win by turn 4 to turn 5. If it goes well for you and you build a nice synergized deck and it starts really going at them, mono red is a thing. The issue with mono red decks is you can burn hands very quickly. The only real card, well, there's 2 cards that kind of put cards back in your hand. Panic Raider is an amazing card, okay? It has Rush, so you can play it, swing with it straight away. Breach means it has to hit has to not be blocked and hit and do damage to the face. It gets -1/-1, but you get to draw a card. That's insane! You get to do 2 damage to the face and you get to draw a card for 3 mana. That's such a powerful card. Such a powerful card, okay? But then you also have other ways of drawing cards with... I can't even remember the card's name now. There you go. I Cause Feast, okay? Draw 3 card, lose 3 life. These are really, though, the only ways you have of actually drawing cards. You have stuff like Shopworn Ball that allows you to look through your deck, but drawing cards. Oh, so you have Muse as well. It's a demise ability, so it has to die, but you draw a card. So red, the issue with red is it can very much run out of cards quickly. The trick there is only really burn to 5 or 6 mana. If you're playing mono red, you don't need any more than that. See people burn to 7 and 8 mana in mono red. It's just a silly play. They're not going to have a hand left. So resource management in red is definitely the biggest thing. Cards I recommend crafting. The first one is one I see in pretty much every red deck I play or play against, and that is Extract Life. Okay, so it has a star next to it, meaning star is what you spend on it. Costs all your remaining mana. So remember, if you've got 7 or 6 red mana and you want to play this, don't play it turn 1 because you're going to do 6 damage. And if you only need to do 3 damage, spend 3 mana and 3 gems before you play this to then get the damage. That's an important tip. Cost all your remaining mana and deal that much damage to a minion. Then you gain the equal life. So you kind of swing. Let's say you do 4 damage. You deal the 4 damage to a minion. It's not a swing of 8 because you don't do it to the face. You do 4 damage to a minion, and then you gain that 4 life back. Notice it says minion. You cannot use this on the face. You can't do all my mana pool to deal my damage to the face. It is to a minion, and you grant life back. It's very good for spot removal. It's very good for removing set cards that are mid-range cards. Like you were talking your 3 and 4 drops, the cards that are starting to build up to that big tempo play. This is very good for removing those. The next card that I want to recommend for mono red. And now, there was several I could recommend here, but one that I put in so many decks, pretty much every deck I play that's red, is Firestorm Prodigy. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, it's too slow, I'm not a big fan of it. I'm a fan of Firestorm Prodigy. It comes out at 2/2, but it adds a Ignition to your hand. Ignition is a spell that deals shock if you play Magic the Gathering. Deals 2 damage to anyone. You can deal it to the face, you can deal it to a minion. It's great if you've got rush units on the board, or you've got some life tap in terms of like pups out, and there's a 2/2 in front of you. You play an ignition on it. You can now swing. You do 2 damage. You get 4 life tap. Technically, it's a swing like 6. You remove the unit. You've swung, deal 2 damage, and you gain 2 life. Ignition's a great card, and Firesong Prodigy is a great way of getting more ignitions in your hand. When it came to mythics here, I struggled because the mythics in red are very much built into set things, okay? You build them into set things. For example, Lord Valentine works very well in a vampire deck, as does... I can't remember. I haven't got the cards now. There you go. It's as does... When I can... Or like 7 Ring Ritual is fecking amazing. Like, such a good card. But a card that is just kind of generally... I put in almost all my red decks I play, whether it be... Maybe not aggression, like full-on aggro, but if I'm sprinkling with any other colour, I will play Oak of Dodona. Oak of Dodona is a mobile minion, you can't move it. When one of your minion dies, your opponent takes 1 damage and you gain 1 life. Great. But when it dies, you get to look at the top 3 cards from your deck and draw a card. The fact that red can really struggle with card draw, this is huge. It's a 4 swing, okay? This passive ability is really strong anyway. If you have to sacrifice it, you're getting a nice reward. You're getting to look at 3 cards in your deck and draw 1. It's crazy good. Oak is such a good card. I really, really recommend it as a mythic card. Let's rock on. Greeny babies. Let's look at some cheeky greens. Now, greens are very much like Magic the Gathering. If we go down to the bottom here, your greens can get very big. They're your big trample units, and by trample I mean overrun. Overrun's what the keyword is called in Mythgard, and any damage that isn't blocked by your opponents overruns. Okay, now you have cards like Wind Fury. Okay, it can Swift Frenzy Blast too. It's crazy big. You have Short Stag, comes out an 8/8. Okay, you may return a minion from your boneyard to your hand. Cannot take more than 3 damage in combat. It's 8/8 with overrun. Like these units are massive. They're big. Green decks are normally about ramping up value, and you do that with cards like Cobblelock. So Cobblelock at the top here is a card that Swift means you can move it. You can swing effectively and move the same turn. Whenever it moves to the first time each turn, gains 1 charge. For every 2 charges it gains 1 additional mana pool. Not a gem, but a mana pool. Meaning that I play this, I can remove it, I can swing to remove a 1, turn 2 on their side, and I've got extra mana. I do that twice, all of a sudden, when it comes to turn 4, I've got 6 mana and my opponent's got 4 mana. If we go down and see what I can play with 6 mana on a green deck, okay, I can be dropping stuff like Wind Fury, okay? I can be dropping stuff like the heavy card. I can be dropping... There's a few big cards I can be dropping here with 6. Like Zero, I could get Zero out turn 4. It's just like insane, okay? That's what green does very well. It ramps up and gets big units out. It also plays in well with aggro in terms of it has lots of spell. I say aggro, it plays in well with mid-range, not aggro, but my bad, with its spells. It has lots of spells. Spells that shuffle a minion with 4 or less strength back into your owner's deck. It's kind of just removal. You're just going, no, I'll get rid of that, mate. That's going back in your deck. They're not to the hand, to the deck. You also have what's called a reanimate combo, where you would effectively use a pathway called Disc to put something like Beast or Stag into your drop area, into your boneyard straight away, meaning it's the bottom card in your boneyard, and then play this turn 3, and then it is, when it dies, replaced by the bottom minion of your boneyard. Oh, wait a minute. Turn 4, we've potentially just got an 8/8 on the board. Mind blowing, okay? That's what green offers. Like I said, it does offer stuff with spells, things like here. When you cast a spell, give all your minions +1 until the next turn. So it's even on when you're playing defense as well. It has a lot of versatility. Yellow's one of my favorite colors. Yellow-blue can get pretty big. Green is one of my favorite colors. Green-blue can get pretty big. Mono green is a deck I love. It can be very control-y, but kind of ramp up. You can really control the board and then kind of throw some big units out. So let's look at our cards we would choose for green. Now, again, going on versatility and versatility alone, we are first saying that Leshy Green is a card I strongly recommend, okay? It's 3 mana. It's especially early in the game, especially when you don't have tons of cards to kind of build decks into. This is created with strength and health equal to the number of minions in play. So if you're at 4 mana, I'd recommend maybe dropping a 1 cost if you've got one in your hand, and then playing this. Let's say your opponent's got 4 minions down, you've got 1 down. This comes out, okay, including itself at a 6/6 on turn 3. Turn 3, guys. Against aggro decks, this can be great because they can have lots of units on the board. All of a sudden, you've got a 6/6 and they're only doing 2 damage. How the hell do they get rid of this in 1 turn? They don't, okay? You can then add cards to Leshy Green, like Overkill, which gives a minion overrun and draw a card. Now all of a sudden, any damage that's not blocked by it is going over. Leshy Green by turn 4 can get out of hand against some decks, and it's super strong. The next card we're recommending is Analyst, which I believe is a 4-drop card, 3-drop card again. Lurker, meaning if there's minions next to it, they have to be removed first. This is why we're recommending this case. So you normally play spells in a green deck anyway. They have Overkill, they have Raid the Tombs. Lots of spells are green. So when you play a spell, you're getting a charge. You can spend the charge to look at the top 4 cards in your deck and choose what you're drawing next. Mid to late game, that can be huge in green decks. You've got the mana now. I need the big guy out. I need to get this card on the board. I need to look for this mythic that I've built into my deck. How do I do that? Well, you play Analyst, and you can look at the top 4 cards in your deck. Even if you haven't got mythics, it still helps you find stuff. Maybe you need a blocker. Maybe you're like, okay, I need a blocker. They're going to play this next. I need something to counter this enchantment or counter this minion here. You can look at your decks and you can chart and you can place a card down. You can choose what you're going to draw. Great card, amazing card. I strongly recommend it. And our mythic here is probably one of my favourite cards in the game. And it's Bella, Witch Queen. Now, granted, this isn't the most universal, versatile card. I could have just gone for a big 8/8 short stag and just go bang, there you go, short stag, get it out, do damage. But I wanted to look at something that's a bit more offers a bit more synergy within green. Now, as I said, green does have a lot of spells. So Bella the Witch Queen gets out of hand if she's untouched. People will remove her pretty quickly. If they don't, she can go on and win you games easily. She comes out of 3 charges. You gain 2 charges when you just do her ability, and all of a sudden all your spells cost 1 less. You can spend 1 charge to stun a minion to the end of its next turn. Insane. They've got a big guy down, stunned. Big guy down, stunned. Just keep stunning him, keep stunning him. It can never attack. Crazy. If you manage to get to 9 charges, I've done it once, you can brand yourself, not the card, brand yourself. So if she gets removed, it doesn't matter. This stays in play. Whenever you play a card, draw a card. Like, insane, okay? This card is nuts. It's crazy good. Strongly recommend it. It's one of my favourite cards in the game. Zera is actually my favourite card in the game, which is down here. But it's pretty hard to get a good combo play with Zera. But anyway, enough of that. Let's rock on to Orange. Now, Orange, in short, are your token decks, okay? Orange can be very aggressive. I've actually just done a deck video on mono orange Zealots. Now, Orange can be very aggressive. You can use the Zealot as a tribal deck, Zealot here, and you can get cards out like Clarion. But every time you play Zealot, they all gain 1 extra damage, and then you can throw in things like Spear of Destiny. All your minions are Zealots. A mono orange Zealot deck, I was winning by turn 5, turn 6, and when it works, it's wonderful. Again, that's the thing, when it works. You also have things like Sandscape, which is kind of playing into control a little bit more. And by control, what I mean is when your enemy attacks this lane, not the minion takes damage, your opponent takes 1 damage to the face. So you cover the board in Sandscape. Every time they swing, they're taking 1 damage to the face. You're really controlling where they attack and where they play their minions. You also have some pretty big units that can come out as well. You have stuff like Sandscale Worm that can come out and it gets teleport if it's on a desert enchantment. Like Faceless Construct doesn't have an ability. It's just a 7/7 for 6 mana. Only costs one orange. Armageddon Angel is a nuts card. Okay, Awaken, destroy all other minions. Is created with 1 more strength for each of your minions and 1 less health for each of your opponent minions destroyed in this way. This game I've seen win games. Like Marfius, fellow TRS player, hates this card. Like, because it just wins games. Okay, so Orange is kind of mid-range, similar to blue, but does offer a little bit more aggro. It also offers a lot of tokens. You have lots of cards, lots of early play cards, 1-cost cards, like Recruit, that when you play it, you're sticking a 1/1 back in your hand. So you've got these tokens that you can start buffing up. Orange Yellow works very well as a kind of slight aggro token deck with the control. Playing something like Alama's Ring, and you've got all these recruits out. They've all now won 1 extra. Okay. Orange blue is a deck I've seen as well. Orange purple works very well. Orange purple mid range is one of my favourite decks. I've climbed to nearly gold ladder with orange purple mid range, and it's a really cool deck. Orange is actually, if I'm going to say, orange is probably my favourite colour at the moment. I really like playing around with orange. I like playing around with the Zealots as a tribal deck. They're not the strongest tribal deck in the game, but I do definitely like playing with them. Now, let's kick on to the cards that we want to craft. So I keep looking at my notes because I want to make sure I get the right ones. The first card I recommend we craft in orange isn't actually a minion. I need to find it now. It's around here somewhere. Do I have to type the name in? No, there you go. Dark Passage. So give one of your minions deadly. If you know what deadly means, any combat damage to the opponent, it dies. Remember, if you do it on one, you put it on a 1/1 and they've got armor 1, it won't kill it. But demise, draw a card. This is amazing, okay? They drop a 5/5 on the board. You've got a 1/1 token minion out near it. Maybe you can use Impel to move it across the lane, throw this on it, swing. You're removing the 5/5 and you're drawing a card. It's so good. It's so versatile. It can go in. It can mix in with so many decks. It does cost 2 orange gems in a 2-cost card. That's the only downside to it, but it's a very, very, very small downside. This card is very good. It's won me games genuinely when I've been playing orange. It's super good. It keeps your hands and your card up, and it's very good removal. The next card we have is, there's a few we could have gone here, but I'm going to go for Perry at the Gates. Now, the reason I like Perry at the Gates so much is 4 costs for mana. She's only a 2/2, but when she comes out, you draw a card, and then you get to look at the top 2 cards in your deck and draw another card. So not only just drawing 2 cards, you actually get to choose what card you want. So it adds a little bit of situational play. Mid-game, this is huge. Like when I'm playing purple-orange, this is normally my turn 4, turn 5 play, because I can start looking to one, thin my deck, but 2, look for a card that actually I really want to maybe have in my hand for a finisher or leading into a finisher for a game. Super strong card. It will go in almost every orange deck you play. Perry will maybe appear in there somewhere because you have the ability to draw cards. You can keep hand advantage over your opponent, and if you don't know, hand advantage in card games, guys, wins games. There's no denying about that. And the mythic I'm going to go for here is, there was a few I could have gone for. I showed Armageddon Angel earlier. I'm a fan of Solomon's Gale. I know a lot of people don't like Solomon's Gale. But the mythic I'm going to go for is one that is super versatile. Probably one of the best mythics in the game. Now I've played around a bit more. And it's Scoring of Pride. 4/4, Overrun. When you play the card, you get to add a Pride of Place spell to your hand. What does a Pride of Place spell do? A Pride of Place spell is a 1-cost card. So you ideally play this when you have 5 mana in your mana pool. And then it turns the any unit into a 4/4 Spirit Lion. You might go, well, why would I turn a 3/2 on their side with abilities into a 4/4 Lion? They get more damage. Ho. Let's redefine a bit of the text. Immune to damage from spirits. There are other cards in the game that are spirits. This can't take damage from. More importantly, this card here is a spirit. Okay, so it's a Spirit Lion, meaning that they literally cannot take damage. You can't take damage. You play opposite a card, you drop this onto it, all of a sudden they're big 8/8 with Overrun. Hasn't got Overrun, it's now a 4/4, and it can't damage Scorn of Pride. Another way you can play this card, play Scorn of Pride, you've got a 1/1 token ready to swing. If you've got lethal, or you're close to lethal, you can drop Place of Pride on the 1/1 token, turning your 1/1 token into a 4/4 Spirit Line, and rather than swinging for 1, you're swinging for 4. It's pretty nice. Be mindful though, if you do that on your card, you will lose any abilities on that card. It will just turn it into a 4/4 line. This Scorn of Pride, super good, super strong, very, very good mythic card. And the final faction, Purple. Now, the best way to describe Purple, now I've started to see quite a lot of mono Purple recently. The best way I can describe Purple to new players is, imagine your 5 other colours are your big bowl of chips. Your blues, your orange, your blues, orange, yellows, reds, greens are your bowl of chips. Purples are like your mayonnaise. Chips are good. They're good. But just add a little bit of mayo or ketchup if that's your jam. They are very good. And that's exactly what Purple does. Purple can splash in some aggro. It can splash in tempo. It can splash in like big arse units. It can splash in control. Lots of little bits and bobs. It's one of the smaller factions because it did come in later into the game. We have cards like Race from the Shadows, which is basically like an ignition but in purple. It has rush. It does 2 damage. You just remove a card straight away. You also have like cards that give items, lots of items in purple. So Sword Saint, you get to add a biting blade to your hand. You can stick it on a card. It gives them 1 extra damage and it gives them life tap. pretty big. Okay, you have cards like Holding Hero that plays off of that. You have cards like Metamorphosis, which is similar to Spirit Lion we just saw, or Scorn of Pride, where you can turn any card that costs 5 less for mana into a 2/2 sheep. Misfortune, one of the most broken cards in the game. I say broken, one of the most powerful. It's slightly overtuned. I would be amazed if this card doesn't get a slight adjustment as we go on. One of my favourite cards in the game, without a doubt, is Shinobi Wind. Teleport, can move anywhere you want. Breach, you can then deal an additional 2 damage to anyone. So if I get a clean hit at the face, I can then remove units with this card. It's so good in mid-range decks. Like, Shinobi Wind is so good mid-range deck. It also works in aggro decks, if you want to get it out, okay? It's, purple is a really cool colour, I find, sprinkled with stuff. Mono purple is a thing. People play mono purple. I mean, you go down here, you look at some of the units they've got down here. Perfect Grade, I mean, just look at this card. Absolutely nuts. But Perfect Grade has so many abilities it can do, okay? The Daigo, again, so many, like, they've got big units that you can get out. Much like green. But yeah, purple works with any colour. And you'll see a lot of purple mixed in with colours. I've not seen tons of mono purple. It does exist. But you see purple best sprinkled in with something, and it plays really well into that. If I'm looking for a deck to do something, like I'm like, okay, I want to build a green deck, I normally go look at purple first to see what purple offers, to see if I want to splash in a little bit of purple along the way. Cards I would craft in purple. Pentacle of Flavors, one of my favourite cards in the game, I can't deny. This card is so good, okay? So you play it on any minion, you give a minion Armor 1, Focus 2, Regen 3, Slayer 4, Blast 5. But Blast 5 is important. Let's say you've got a minion and it's 2 lanes away from an enemy. You can play this on there. You swing at the lane next to the enemy. It probably removes that enemy, or it does 5 damage to it. You're also getting the damage done to the person, to the face. You're also getting a regen on that unit. This card is nuts. I love it. In mid-range decks, I think it can win games. I think it's such a good card, okay? The next card I would recommend, and purely because it's so universal, so versatile, and it fits into almost any deck you want to play, and that is Spirit Away. Transform an enemy minion into a 0/3 hollow. Doesn't do any damage. Any enemy minion, not under a certain mana cost, okay? And then it shuffles it back into the owner's deck, and it removes their abilities. If they drop a massive card on the board and you want a bit of control, you go, nah, I'm just going to get rid of that. Now, it is expensive. It's 5 mana. It costs 3 purple gems. It is expensive, but in terms of spot removal, if you're looking for a card, I just need spot removal. If you pull this is a great card to put in there. Or if you want to craft the card for spot removal, this is a great card. I love it. And it also, it's not only spot removal, they draw into it again. It's a dead card. Like, what do I do with that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing, okay? Yeah, and mythic-wise, for purple, I've got 2 here because I did first go with Misfortune. Now, the reason this card is overtuned is because given enemy minion fragile 3, meaning when you attack it, it takes 3 extra damage. Demise, so when it dies, that minion dies, deal 2 damage to the face of the player controlling it, and then Misfortune returns from the Boneyard to the owner's hand. So this card, you never lose it. You put on a card, you kill that card, they take 2 damage, it comes back. You do it again, you do it again, you do it again, you do it again, you do it again. Someone in chat recommended the way that probably, if they do nerf it, will be maybe it costs an extra mana cost. So maybe it starts at 3, but then the next time you want to play it, it costs 4. The time after that, it costs 5. The time after that, it costs 6. I think that would be a good nerf to it because it wouldn't even make it a bad card. It would still be a very good card. It would just make it sit in line a bit more. This card has won me so many games. It can get nuts. If you get it turn 3 and you can get removals with your 1 cost, like I play it with purple with orange. If I get removals with my purple and orange with this, it's just insane. I'm dealing damage to the face, I'm clearing the cards. So the reason I'm recommending 2 is if this gets nerfed, or when you're watching this video, maybe you're like, oh, the card doesn't do that anymore, it's changed. The next one I'm recommending is Rogue Vocaloid. Blast 3, so it does the same. You attack the lane next to a minion, as long as you can do that. That adjacent minion takes 3 damage. But the minion in the opposite lane has its strength, which is its damage, locked to 0. They drop a big unit down. You can play this. No damage on it. You can move a card across, swing for it. The card you're now hitting at that other minion don't take any damage because it's locked to 0. This card's very good, nice and controlly. It's a great way of shutting down big units that drop mid to late game. I love it. Rogue Vocaloid is cool. And the artwork's pretty sweet as well. Anyway, that is kind of it, guys. You do have these cross gem cards down here, but I'm going to do a completely separate video on cross-gem cards. But in terms of colours, of what the idea of the colours are, that should be it, okay? So, in short, blue are mid-rangey, can ramp up quite big with some units, nice enchantments. Yellow is defense control. Red is kind of aggro. Green is again ramping up some big units, but also has a lot of spells available. Orange is tokeny. Tokens can be aggressive, but can also get some big units out. Has control enchantments in desert enchantment. And purple is a bit of everything. A nice little sprinkling of mayonnaise or ketchup on the side of whatever deck you're running, in my opinion, and purple works very well at that. That's it, guys. That's going to wrap the video up. I've tried to get it as quick as I can, but hopefully that helps new players kind of get into the game. Please let me know in the comments below if this video has helped you. If you're new to Mythgard and you're trying to get your head around it, has this video helped you? I'm going to be running a whole series on it. I'm going to try and get a new to Mythgard video out every week, maybe twice a week if I get time to. And yeah, I want to get new players into the game. The game's great. If you've got any questions on anything, please hit me up in the description below, guys. Also, there's a Discord channel. My Discord channel is linked below as well. If you want to join that, there's a Mythgard channel in there. Come over there, ask people questions. We have a lot of very high level Mythgard players in there. And last thing I want to plug, guys, is in the description below is a link to TRS's or Team Rankstars, a team I'm a member of. Team Rankstars Getting Started in Mythgard guide, which is a very in-depth guide. If you're new to the game, I thoroughly recommend you check it out. It covers absolutely everything. Lane placement, resource control, cards to craft. It covers everything. It's so good. Definitely check that out. Link is in the description below. As well as my Twitch channel if you want to do that. Damn, there's a lot of links in the description below. Anyway, guys, I'm getting a pretty dry mouth, so I'm going to go drink some Coca-Cola and play some more Mythgard because this game is great. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well. Like I said, any issues, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, guys, have a great day, morning, evening, whatever the hell it is, wherever the hell you guys are. And until then, goodbye.